Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTK-DB. Let's Talk Radio. I'm Kelly Brickle, and it's Friday. We had a double show today, so you saw me just a moment ago if you were on, and we are doing the reading show now. And so that is a way where you can come in and ask a question. And so I do psychic and numerology readings. I'll pull a card for you too as well. Hello, Donna. Welcome. And so all you have to do is just pop down your numbers. That's your birth dates. If you are from the UK versus the United States, you'll pop it down a little bit differently. If you can, write out your month. That always helps me. And so you just let me know if you want a general reading or a specific reading. Hello, Jessie Cat. Nice to see you. And you just pop down your question, right? Pop down your birth date, pop down your question, or ask for a card pull with your question. So those are the two formats for everybody coming in and wondering how it works. I talk for a little bit, just like with some inspiration, and then we go into readings, and that's how we do it. And so, yes, just like that, Donna. Thank you so much. And so, yeah, you just put down a general reading or a question. There you go. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jessie Cat. And so, do I have any messages? I like people already. So, yeah, everyone always has messages that come forth about their soul. I think that's a great question. Within a psychic reading, that is all information about someone's life and their soul, their emotion, what's going on with what has happened, what's going on now, and what's upcoming. And so many things can surface in that person's life depending on that. So since we're doing psychic readings, we're focusing on an individual's life with what is going on. And that's how we pull information from. So yes, someone will always have messages. That's the funness of this show. So the inspiration that I wanted to give forth is, honestly, it's an inspiration of Joan Marie that was just on the show. Ooh, making noise, making music. That was just on the show prior. And she was talking about like identity, and she was talking about, these milestones of her life and how she cultivated learning about who she was. And we can talk about too where I am. I'm back up in Northern California. That's why I just hit something beside me. I just hit some dishes. We're going through our mom's house, and we're going and we're helping her with a transition and move. So we've been doing a lot of work up here, but it's very meaningful and for family. So we're organizing. So we're about 3 hours north, and we're very busy, but it's for great purpose. And so with Joan Marie, what I wanted to talk about is it was really beautiful to hear about how she would put herself in different situations and more of her identity surfaced. And a lot of times she talked about how it was within her, like that joy or those thoughts of I'd like to do this, or maybe I'd like to be more like that. And they were just like always inside of her, but they weren't really externalized. And she would see other people around her, and she'd be like, well, that's so fantastic. They can do that, right? And she just kind of stepped into that through sheer inspiration. And I think that's very powerful. So some of my background is in NLP. I don't always utilize it. I do utilize it at times when I mentor or coach people. I more so mentor people now at this point in the way that I use my psychic mediumship teaching. And it's really important to nurture and guide people in understanding like the depths of their consciousness and really why they make the decisions and have the belief systems they do. And we all have them for certain reasons we wouldn't even kind of realize until we go there. And so we do have to kind of journey into these unknown territories to actually find not only aspects of ourselves to be reminded or to, invoke certain things within us that we never would have expected. And we have to really reach these levels within ourselves where we go, I don't know what comes next. And honestly, that's good. I think like the unknown is scary a lot for people, and spirituality deals a lot with the unknown. It really does. It deals a lot with death. It deals a lot with transformation. And making sense of things that seemingly don't make much sense. And that is the power of this work. Like, you have to journey into the unknown. And people who have these great spiritual wisdoms, they have done that, and they gain leadership, right? They gain personal power, they gain confidence, but they had a journey into the unknown. And it's terrifying. Honestly, it's terrifying. Just, think about all the stuff you don't want to do, or all the stuff that could go wrong. It's not like it's not thought about. No, believe me, with the things that I do, I think a lot about. I'm like, well, I got to account for this, and it might go wrong. And I start kind of, spiraling myself sometimes into talking myself out of things. But if there's a feeling and there's a pull to it, I really do try to show up. I really do try to show up. And there's different levels of that. And I think that's important to talk about. There's sometimes pushing yourself, and that's important. At times it really is. But sometimes we push ourselves and we go, I'm still not really comfortable. And that's okay if you feel like there's a deeper reason at hand. But if you push yourself and you're like, I'm still not comfortable, you're like maybe not so much having to focus on that area. Like, there's validation within that. I've pushed myself and done things. I'm just like, okay, I'm here to learn the lesson of, I need to push myself, but maybe I don't have to be quite here. I need to be more there. And we have to put ourselves more and more in these kind of awkward situations, but awkward situations from the heart. They have to be meaningful. If it's just awkward, again, it's just like, do we really have to be here? But if it's from the heart and awkward, that's territory of the unknown. That definitely is checking your box of what comes next. And so, I talk about concepts like this because this is what spirituality is in philosophy and application. When you are learning how to talk to spirit, right? And you're like, I don't know who's in the room, and I'm just going to try it, and I just got to trust myself. And if I'm connected to this, and if it doesn't scare me too much, I'll continue, right? And that's how I felt initially when I was learning about spirit. I don't feel that way now, but my heart was connected though. And I was just like, if there's nothing to be afraid of, let my heart know that, make me feel good, give me encouragement. And it wasn't like I had this 100% certainty as I was connecting with spirit and learning about spirit. It was a lot of unknown territory, but I just made sure my heart was in the equation to help guide me if I ever felt like it wasn't a good idea, this wasn't right for me, or something just didn't click. And, things came together because I went into the areas of the unknown. There's a lot of trips that I do. There's a lot of classes that I take that I tell myself, I don't necessarily have to do this. Logically, I don't have to do this. But I'm very drawn in a way to seek out certain teachers or seek out certain lessons or certain experiences. And when I go there, if it's really my heart and it's just kind of like gnawing at me, right? And I go there, I go, okay, yeah, I didn't need to come here to like unlock to be a medium or a psychic or a healer. I did like those skills are waiting inside of ourselves, and we can cultivate those by our own just connection to our own soul. We don't need to go to a class. We don't need to go to experience for it to all come together. No, but when you go to those experiences, especially if you push yourself, you go, this is incredibly helpful. You're like, this is incredibly helpful. Or I needed to meet these people. I just like, gained some allies, or I gained insight. And it's not like that was the everything, but that's how the journey continues. And so that's what it is. Like, we really put ourselves into these boxes of I'm this or I'm not that, or I can do it or I can't do it. And when we push ourselves, we are correct when we tell ourselves that next step isn't everything, don't worry about it. But we need to put ourselves into the unknown, not because it's everything, not because it's the next step that's going to blow the lid off. Could happen. Why not? Welcome that. But it's just, it makes us more of ourselves. It makes us more like in tune with listening to the divine, having faith in the divine. And the divine is ourselves. We listened to ourselves. We had faith within ourselves that this was a good idea. Yeah, I should go check that out. And all of that shapes your consciousness and identity to be in alignment with your soul. And when you give yourself an opportunity to do that, it feels good. It just does. And it leads to this insight that's greater than wealth itself. It is wealth, but it's greater than conventional, physical based, I have coins in my hand wealth, as I'm sure you understand. Because, just when Joan Marie was talking, and I'm using her as like, a lot of this inspiration, she said, I did many things within my life. I did many different things with my art, and some were very successful. And if I just allowed myself to stay there because it garnered certain success, or if I continue to try to push it in belief of some material success, she talked about she wouldn't have been as happy, but maybe she would have stopped growing because she thought she would have achieved success. And she got her confirmation through the external of, people are buying my artwork. I'm rich. I must be doing it right because people are buying my work and I am living my life comfortably. But instead, she had all these different sharp turns or ups and downs that cultivated her identity and gave her this rich spiritual understanding of who she was. And just when she found more of that truth every step of the way, she was able to actually find a point where she met happiness and truth through what she did. And that wouldn't have been cultivated through money. I think that's so important to talk about. And it's difficult. It's really difficult, within my work. Like, it's work, like we have to make money with what we do because we have to pay the bills. We can't be like, just getting by always, and then you wouldn't even be in the right headspace to help others always, right? You just wouldn't. And it's not about having everything be okay, but this work or anything that is connected to your heart, it just can't possibly be about the money first. And I've heard many other people talk about it, and I believe in it too. Like, anytime I've needed to do something within my heart, within this work, I always have enough. It's not that I have gallons, it's not that I'm like, whoa, right? It's just for some reason, I always have enough to get by. And sometimes I have more than enough. It's just, I've never been put in a situation when I'm giving my 100% in my heart and luck hasn't come through. Does that make sense? It might not come as expected, but it comes through. And that's because there's a different kind of wealth associated with this work, and you generate enough confidence, faith, and belief and trust in yourself what happens is that spiritual force starts to solidify, that wealth starts to manifest and engage into other areas of your life, and you get other areas of wealth. Now, it's not saying that we've mastered it all. It's not saying that I've mastered it all. I'm really looking always to generate other areas of wealth in my life. I'm always growing. I'm always changing. I'm very much myself, I feel like, because I feel connected to myself, but I'm always growing, I'm always changing, and I'm always generating more wealth, not just the physical sense. And that prosperity trickles over into, yes, more wealth in other areas, and it's a very real thing. The last thing I'll say to it is, a lot of the spiritual teachers like Lisa Williams or Paul Jacobs, even Andy Bing, they talk about how their life had a lot of simplicity with what they were able to have before they got into this work. And it took a lot of belief and trial and error of just being very committed to this work for the rest to come. And they talk about that on, the social media, or when they lecture, or when they teach. And some talk about it more than others. But it wasn't because they did this because they're like, no one else is doing this, I'll be successful. It's because they wanted to do it, and it didn't always make sense other than the fact that they felt it. Okay, so I'm going to give that to you, and we will start with doing some readings. I always take a drink of my water, whatever water is around. Right now I have a smashed Essentia bottle. I've just been clinging to hydration. I understand. It's kind of funny. You have to just do what works for you. I understand that sometimes it's not good to drink on the radio, right? The sound isn't the most, I guess, apropos, but that's how I change state. Honestly, it's the best way for me to change state. And when you're doing readings or you're going into a different vibration, you have to change state. You do. You have to say, my brain is now ready to work this way. And for me, water really helps that. And so that's why you see me do that. That's the reason behind it. So we are going to start with Donna, and then we'll go to Jessie Cat, and then everyone else who wants a reading, just pop down your birth dates or ask for a card pull and general reading if you want, or specific. So we will go with that. All right. All right, so we're doing Donna's numbers. She's Year of the Dragon. That's always fun. People with Year of the Dragon, I find, have this determination with life. They have this conviction, and they show up to life with a little bit of earnestness. Okay, so your attitude 4, and you are personal day 8, and you are life path 6. And some people ask about, I just want to let people know, some people ask about master numbers, and you can ask questions about that. When I'm going fast, usually on the radio too, someone might be a 33.6, someone might be 11.2, but I'm going to talk about the vibration of 1 through 9, because all master vibrations reduce to either 1 through 9, okay? There is more emphasis when someone has a master number. This is definitely true, and sometimes we naturally get into it, but many times when I'm adding quickly and I understand kind of if your vibration of, I stick to that vibration rather than talking about the master numbers if they do come up. So just giving you a heads up on that. Okay, and cycle of, what cycle are you in? You're in a cycle of 1. That's fantastic. Okay, so we'll start with it, with your cycle. So Donna, this is a good year for you because it's change. It's also a year where it's been a little bit confusing on how to change gears. Like you have this like this will within you where you're just like, okay, I'm ready to do something different. I feel like, I don't have the same constraints. And there's been like kind of this motivation within your heart to try things and do different things, just like, in little ways. But I do feel like there's a calling to do more of it. Okay. So it's been like the little bit of the dance. Like, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do this? And it's just like what I talked about earlier. Just go and see what happens. You have beautiful energy this year. You still have November and December. And cycle 1 is all about life being refreshed, life being renewed, life in a way where you don't play that by the same rules, new ambitions, new considerations, and to meet that with a fresh enthusiasm. Okay, so if that is inside of you brewing, like really bring that to the surface and just kind of have fun with it. That's what I really would like to say. Hello, Dia. Hello, Sue. I will pop down your numbers in a moment. So with Donna, you're the type of person, because I'm seeing the 4, the 8, and the 6. Like you go about life in a little bit more orderly, systematic way. And sometimes, like, you're a fan of rules, okay? Because attitude 4, they're more organized people, right? And they're a little bit more logical about the way that they go about things within their life. And so my favorite way when I want to be a little bit more orderly is just to write things down. Okay, I'm glad you can understand, Donna. I write things down on my list. I'm a big fan of lists. I talk about it a lot. And I go, when I'm feeling that oomph, right? When I'm feeling that like little tickle of gotta be doing something, or I should try that. Like I just pop back to one of my hidden lists or one that is just right in front of me, and I go, I did tell myself I wanted to do that. Okay, it's on there. Time to like I've already said that I want to manifest this, so all systems go. And honestly, that's my sign, and it's quite satisfying cerebrally, and I don't overthink it because it's right there. You're a life path 6, so and this is important to talk about, always people's life path numbers. And so life is to be lived like an inspiration of family. And so I want to say this to you as well. When we go out and we are brave and we just try things, and because it's stuff we really want to do, it doesn't have to make sense. We just really want to do it. What happens is family takes notice, close friends take notice, and they start to as well, start to, let down their guard or break their shell open, and they start talking about different things, seeing different things from a different perspective. And it's like I don't want to say the monotony, but I'm aware that sometimes it's either within the town that you live or you observe this within the family. So there's something about like a group environment, but it's something that you're around. It's within your environment. So there's an understanding of there's monotony in the environment. Again, it could be family, it could be the community that you're a part of. But what happens is you invite other people to wake up from the dream. And they go, well, Donna's doing it. Like, oh, wow, Donna's doing something I just wouldn't expect her to do. Or Donna is actually interested in all these things I wouldn't have expected, right? And then people start coming out of the woodwork because they feel exactly the same way as you. And everyone's kind of just like falling in line, which seems practical, seems like sociable, seems cordial, seems nice. And you could have the nicest, most fun people, but they're still going, okay, this is the way to do things, but I'm still having fun with my life. But it's like break free of that mold, and it invites other people to do so, even if they're not thinking about it. It just invites more of the energy. And I feel like that needs to come into play. And I just feel like you're going to feel more free. Okay. So I'm inviting you, whether where you live or within the family, to shake things up. And you're going to have, I think, a lot more surprises with people around you. And that's honestly the confirmation for the next step. Wow, life really, life really is giving me some unexpected next steps. But you have to enter the arena. So make those lists. And when you feel that feeling, don't overthink them. Use the lists, because that will get you to that next step without even having to worry about it. Okay, so I give that to you. My sinuses. I just ate something. Just ate something before the show because I took a little break and I came back on the air. And I think I'm learning that my sinuses do a certain little bit of something when I do readings. It's kind of fascinating. It's probably like really close to when my body's digesting something, because I am talking so nasally and I was not a moment before. Okay, so it's important to talk about this because there's different things happen to our body when we are opening up. Different things happen to our body when we are reading. Okay, be aware of it. Jessica, you're next. So you asked for a general card reading. All right, cool. Let's pull some cards. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I like it. So I got Mastery of Your Own Fate and the Time Game, and the most important card really is the Master of Your Own Fate. It's about you're taking more and more accountability and more thoughtfulness to tweaking and changing your life. And honestly, life can be tweaked everywhere. And it's a bit overwhelming, right? It's a bit overwhelming to have knowledge of how to make our life better. But as we're making our life better, we feel like we're putting more stress on our life. Does that make sense? And so since we have that stress because we're just trying to make it better, we feel, gosh, I'm even more overwhelmed, but I'm really coming from a good place and I'm really trying to do it right. And I know I'm doing the right thing, but it's almost like the growing pains are just all around. The growing pains are all around. But that strong foundation is master your own fate. So what happens is you have the strong foundation of mastering your own fate. So it's going to take some growing pains, but it's going to even out and things are going to get really good. So I just want to give you a pat on the back again for that. Like, it's coming. The fruits of the labor are coming. Just continue to be involved and communicate with your environment, communicate with the energy, continue to learn about what to do, continue to learn about being flexible within the changes around you that you so deeply feel. Just continue to understand the art in it and the communication of it and the interaction of it. It's a process where life isn't just happening to us, it's happening with us. And I know you know that, but the art of the with, okay? You're cultivating the art of the with. It's moving you all into the vibration of being more empathetic, being more loving, being more open. It is causing you to be more emotional. So there are times where you're pulling back and going within. Again, we're in the growing pains, but it's right. We're cultivating that flow. I do feel like it's going to take you into next year of really breaking open your heart in various ways from the past and confronting some issues with people that are really going to make you feel like, who am I really and what do I really stand for? So it's going to be some kind of very emotional and difficult times going forward with understanding the power of your empathy and the power of the way that you choose to help people and be selfless. So the balance of selflessness, but also the cultivation of the soul, which is understanding the self, but from a very spiritual and loving place, which you can give that back to other people, but the cultivation of the self and the strength of self. So this is all going back to mastering your own fate and getting your roots and your bearings very, very strong. So just know that that's part of the process, and know every time that you are hurt in love, you are learning about love. So there actually will be less hurt. Okay, I think Not everyone can know that lesson so deeply and purely, but I do think your energy is at a place where you absolutely can. So know that there are some lessons of the heart coming up, but know that this is part of the way of the learning, and your heart is just going to be even more bright for it. It's going to be a little stormy at times, okay? Um, in the past, it has been difficult to kind of stand up and let it be known for how you really feel about things and what you stand up for at times in certain ways. I feel like you've always done it to a certain degree, but it's been really wobbly. And this is just going into next year. And the year after that, it's all going to be kind of like flipped. It's all going to be like things are just going to become easier with the way I let things be known with my heart and my soul, and is going to be so unified that I get less resistance because of that. I'm just a force of faith, knowing, and I have much more fluidity in it. Okay, so I'm giving that to you, Jessie Cat. That's what comes up. It's been happening already. Excellent. I do think that there's going to be a process of 2 years, where, again, the years are not set in stone. It's really just a matter of what the energy is present and how it's expressing itself. But into next year, I really see it. And then the following year, it's like there's so much ahas that happen. You feel quite rock solid in about 2 years. It could come even earlier than that, but in 2 years, I feel like there's this completely transformation of really just how you work with your energy and how you deal with others and how you stand really strong within that, and how people actually don't give you resistance back. Because sometimes when we are of pure of heart, or of integrity, or spirit guides us and we have resistance from other people, it's sometimes it's karma, but it's some things we have to learn within ourselves to heal. And once we do that, all of a sudden there's a switch that turns on and we don't get that same resistance, because the truth is the truth and spirit is spirit. Why wouldn't there be pure flow behind something so right and so real and so meaningful? But there is sometimes, and then we have to learn something within ourselves so we can fully embody spirit igniting the way for us. And that's what I want to give to you. So there is that 2 year really come full circle energy within that, but you can have many successes and many forms of leadership and many forms of power of your knowing up to that point, and you could have it even sooner. But I'm just giving you the energy within that for perspective. Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. You're awesome too. You're amazing too. Let's see who is. I think Diet is next. Yeah, Diet's next. Love Diet. I would love to get a message. She's giving me her numbers. Life has been beyond crazy. Yeah, it's that lovely 9. You got 2 months left of that 9, and the 9 is all about its death of former self. So it ushers us into, now you're a person that wouldn't do anything quite the same as last year. Now you're a person who, in order to be that different individual, has to go through trial by fire, right? And come out on the other side and go, oh, actually I'm forced to do this. So what I'm trying to say is spirit is forging a new part of yourself to come forward and putting you in situations that you would never choose to go into, right? Sometimes they're very sad and emotional, and sometimes they're full of pressure, but spirit is like, the chapter is starting. I don't care if you're ready. The new chapter is starting. And so that's why a lot of these shoes are dropping and a lot of things are happening where, how can I put it? When we are in a place of activation, right? When we're in a place of, I can plan my life, I have the power to plan for my life, which we always do. We start making plans and we start, checking our lists off with goals, and we start feeling quite powerful, and we're like, I can do this. I'm at this point in my life. I have this, freedom, and I have these capabilities and skills and talents. But when we're forced to change, because that's what needs to happen, and that's the greatest spiritual picture for ourselves for that next phase to enact truly within our life. Spirit goes, okay, I'm going to take away the way that you perceive to grow yourself, because the way that we're going to grow you, actually, it has different laws. It's not from what Diet sees herself as and can be now. It's what Diet is going to launch herself into in a completely different way than she could have ever seen. So what happens is we're going to have to overwhelm her in a way that her normal mind can't think and plan the same way. So you're going to be put in situations where you can't think about yourself. You're going to be put in situations with family. You're going to be situations with work where the normal, logical, or even spiritually attuned Diet would go, yeah, let's do this. And it's going to go like, doesn't work, doesn't compute. No, we're going to make you have no time for that. No, it's not even going to be a choice. And now you're there. And you're just like, what is going on? Like, I've reached such a state of balance. I've reached such a state of power that I should cast my net and things should come back. I'm not, like, I'm actually quite focused. And they take the net away and they say, no, we're going to make you experience something quite different. And so it's all setting up for something even better. It's all setting up for something that you can't plan for. And so let's pull some cards on that. Okay. Oh. Okay. 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 Oh, I love it. I love it. So this does feel like a great time of uncertainty, but I just want to reiterate, it's a great time of change. And it actually feels tremendously more positive from me overlooking the situation rather than being in the situation. Okay, so I want to give you some encouragement with that, because it actually feels quite like things are moving in a very actually good and sacred direction, even though it's quite busy and quite confusing and quite not feeling so great. The two cards that are coming up, and they are upside down, so it's letting me know of the confusion and kind of like this doesn't feel so great, is the mental energy card, and also, the needing support card. Okay, so it's letting me know that you can't be thinking you can't be thinking things through. You can't be thinking things through with this. Yes, be responsible. Yes, follow up. Yes, understand, the basics. Understand what is needed. Sure. You have to be responsible, absolutely. But it's almost like you got to close the book and look away and know that as long as you did the bare bones, the rest is going to work how it's going to work. And when we're so overwhelmed, or when we are really kind of going, well, I need something that, this isn't quite working. Let me see what I can do about it. Let me see if I can maneuver things. Let me see if I can just kind of like even contemplate this through, right? Sometimes we go into ourselves to understand, what do I need to do next? And it's letting me know that, like, what purely you need is the feeling of spirit. What purely you need is the support of family and friends. What purely you need is love, because everything is actually going how it needs to. It's very not comfortable right now, and you need a lot of love and support and laughter and encouragement to help just calm you through all these changes, because everything feels actually right on course. There's been a lot of being alone through this, because you've been working so hard to cultivate things within career and going forward, but there's been too much being alone within this, and you have to share and be a part around those who love you. And maybe it's a process of, confirming who really does and who really is there for you. But Spirit's like really letting me know that you need much more support and people around you, because things actually are on track. The thing that's like so all up in the air. She's talking to me. So out of my comfort zone today more than most. Yeah, absolutely. I can understand that. So I got like kind of like I get a feedback card, right? Like I go, oh, okay, give me some perspective on what cards I'm pulling, and this is the perspective card I got. The blank card. The blank card. And so what that means to me is that like you're the type of person that you're very much aligned with, Spirit show me the way, and you're not one to overthink, and life just happens. Well, you did that and you said Spirit lead the way, but then you're here and you're like, why is it not working? Or why am I getting this? And it's because of the things that I talked about. But I can understand. You're like, I followed the trail, and I'm smack dab in the unknown. This doesn't make sense. I went from the unknown to more unknown. That's not usually how it works. And so you find yourself a little bit discombobulated. But what's great though, so I'm going to jump forward a little bit. And what I got to like bring all these cards together, and the energy that was going future pace, is you got a very cool card yet. You got the Gordon Higginson Edgar Casey card. And so that means your life is made to be in mediumship. That means that you are learning the lessons that you are having to learn to shape you into a more dynamic medium and a more dynamic person within your career. This is also very personal too within friends as well. This is also very personal too within inner relationships as well. So life is opening up in multiple areas to make you a more formidable and capable person, okay? But it's all in the vein leading you back to your mediumship. The thing that you manifested, the thing that you're head scratching for, is the thing that's coming. It absolutely is. It's just an unconventional timeline, because right now it's an unconventional way to grow, okay? I really do think that there's going to be a lot of peace within this. I do think that we are going into this timeline and a little bit of uncertainty going forward, and it's just a matter of surrendering to the storm. You're going to have some storms coming up. Just continue to surrender to the storm, and it's going to crack up these much more buried emotional parts of you. Okay? So, I get the number 3. I don't know if it's 3 months or 3 years, but I keep seeing like 3, and I keep seeing 3 to 5. So I'm just going to let you know, I keep seeing 3 to 5, and it's letting me know that there's like this time that's going to emotionally crack you open. And it's actually going to be very, very beautiful, the outcome and result. And I'm just seeing like this woman, and there's like all these, I don't know. It's almost like I see this woman and she's glowing and her hair is blowing in the wind. And it feels like this, something like, I don't know, it's like almost past life energy. Like there's this Native American energy, and there's like these feathers, and it's almost like you're a chief or something. But it's letting me know that you're cracking open this leadership, like softness and femininity and this maternal power within you. And yeah, it's 3 to 5 months possibly, right? So it's the 3 to 5 months possibly. But it actually feels really gorgeous from my end. It feels incredibly gorgeous and beautiful and softening and wisdom producing, okay? So I want to give that to you, even though it feels quite different. And let me just, where are we going into? I really like next year for you. I really do. I think it's going to be profoundly easier, and profoundly easier with some things being able to come your way. Okay, I'm going to say it like that. And I just really think that February next year is going to be a really nice month for that to help solidify what I'm saying within that, and to make you feel good about how you're activating next year. So I'm going to give you that, and that's just some re-motivation, reinvigoration of, there's a lot going on that's actually like, I feel it's really good, and it feels it would take a very evolved person to navigate what you're navigating, but it feels so incredibly good and wonderful. Okay, from the vista that I'm viewing on the incredible complex change. Okay, so love, love, love to you, and thank you for asking. Let's see, what is? Let's see. I love you, Diet. Angela, are you next? I'm just seeing if you pop down anything. Angela, you say hello, Angela. Hello back. Who's next? Oh, Sue's next. Okay, Sue is next. Beautiful. Okay. General card reading for Sue, and then she also gave me her numbers. Beautiful, awesome. I'm gonna pop down to see that as well. So I'm just writing down Sue's numbers. Okay, perfect. And oh yeah, and Donna was talking about how she retired last April. Well, yeah, we're ready for change. We're ready for change. Seriously, Donna. Okay. Sue, you're next. Dad says, thank you so much. Can't wait to look back at it and laugh. Yeah, for real. For real. Right? Trust. It's gonna be like what, like 2000. Think about 2017 versus now. That's like 5 years. There's a 5-year theme in place. Don't get me wrong, but in 5 years you'll really be able to look back and laugh. But there's change coming much sooner. That's the vibe I'm getting. Okay, so Sue, you are an attitude 8. And you are a personal day 3, and you are life path 1, I believe. Let's double check that. Yep, that's right. Yep, that's right. Okay, cool. And you are in a cycle of 5. Okay, cool. So Sue, there's a lot of change going around this year. I always think it's fun when someone has a cycle 5, because whether they're in a cycle 4 or a cycle 5, there's like this innate change to kind of like shake things up. So some people change their job, or they think about moving around that time. And ultimately, cycle 5 is about life being explored and not holding yourself back. It's a great time to travel too, whether it's locally or whether it's, I'm going to pull this up, whether it's locally or whether it's, abroad. It's a very good time to get yourself out there and to explore, adventure. Okay. So when someone has a life path of 1, their ultimate goal is to just do things for themselves. Like, their ultimate goal is to forge a new path that no one has yet trekked, or to do things in a unique way. So like a lot of inventors or a lot of people who go against the grain are life path 1s, and no one has to understand. It just has to feel right to you when you do the things that you do. And in your life, you already have lived that way, but it needs to be applied more and more and more as you live life. Like, that's just the way I'm going to do it. This sounds cool. And you're actually meant ultimately to be a leader for others within that enthusiasm and uniqueness. Because 1 is all about being unique. You stand out from the crowd. And so you encourage others to do things a little bit differently too. It's a very important thing to be. You are an attitude 8. So when someone is an attitude 8, they are known to be perfectionists. They really are. And they're ones to know the details, and they're ones to see things within a way of, how can I achieve this the best way? They're always kind of thinking in a vein of excellence, whether it's conventionally or unconventionally. They like to do things a certain way because they really have invested so much in themselves of how they go about. And so when I see that 8 and that 1 combined, it lets me know that you would actually be really great, whether you're making a physical product or you're producing some idea out into the world. You would actually be a very much of a natural for it. You have very good entrepreneurial numbers. That the 8s and the 1s, when they're important placements, it even enhances how natural of an entrepreneur one can be. And so I see that very much within you. So if you have some ideas, actually, you would cultivate a lot of joy, and it'd be quite easier than most for you to get them off the ground, because you're able to see the big picture and the details with a good business head. Okay. You naturally have a very good business head. I want to give that to you. And you naturally actually deal with money better than others too as well. I want to give that to you. So any thoughts that you have for the future of anything that you would like to do or help out, you could actually lead the way for someone else, but you'd have to actually be more in a leadership role as you help lead the way for someone else with their wonderful ideas. You'd be very good with overseeing and making good business decisions and financial decisions. So that really comes into play. I really do think like you're not done. Like if you feel like, nah, you have so much more to do and so much more to help with people within your life, and career is not done for you. Okay, career is not done, and I really do think you're going to move in the upcoming future. Sure, that could be more farther out, much more farther out, but your life actually is going to quite change from now at this point. You're not done. It's time to kind of get your hands into the mud and to keep building. And that really comes up into play. So if it's not happening now, I'm letting you know it's upcoming in a couple of years. It's going to get stronger of how this plays into your life. And then let's see, Sue, yep, moved out of state. Okay, cool. So you did it. You already moved out of state. I actually think that there is an additional move coming up in the future, because I was aware of, if you haven't moved now, there's definitely one coming up. And if you haven't moved now, there's another one coming up, but that's not for a while. Okay. I actually like where you moved now, but it's not the final destination. Okay. It's not the final destination. I feel like you know that though, Sue. Like, I just feel like you know that. It's almost like there's sometimes even thoughts with your new place. Oh, this could be like this, right? I don't know if that's coming into play. But I like the moves that you have done. Good. Here at Brothers for now. Okay, cool. So you can understand that. Okay, good. I just feel like the reason why I'm saying, it could be different like this. Yeah, I got that from the inside. That's true. But what I'm really trying to give you perspective on is I look out the window and I go, I'd rather kind of have something different. So where your brother lives, the environment that you're at, you'd like something quite different, like than where he's at. Yeah, the inside, of course, but like there's something with the outside, and I'm just going to validate that it doesn't quite do it quite right. And you've been thinking about that a lot. Okay. Just like how you want to like wake up and look at the world when you wake up in the morning, and it's like I don't know if it's a deck or a porch or a big window, but I'm looking out of it right now and I see the views, and you go, I could see myself having this. I could see myself having this, and it's different. Okay. So, Sue, what I want to say within the cycle 5 is just continue to embrace the change. And I do think you are meant to be busy. So whether it's getting a job again or changing up your job. I actually think there's a tremendous amount of happiness when you are working in some capacity. It doesn't have to be a conventional job. It doesn't, but you're doing something to help others. And yes, it does involve making money into having something more like a job. So I just want to give that perspective to you. And you can do it unconventionally, but your entrepreneurial hat is calling you. Okay, so I give that to Sue. And who is next? Terry. Terry's next. I'm just seeing Terry. Did you? Okay, cool. Terry, you are putting down your numbers. 425, 1975. Okay. Your attitude 2, Terry. Your personal day 7. Life path, and this is all in Pythagorean numerology because there's many forms of numerology, but I do Pythagorean numerology. If anyone is curious on how my style is. Okay, so life path, you are a 6. Now let's double check all that. Yep, that's right. Okay, so attitude 2, personal day 7, life path 6, and you are in a cycle of 8. And so, Terry, when I see someone's in a cycle 8, it's actually a time of quickly manifesting things. So that's great. But it's also a time where you really have to look at health and look back to oneself. And it's about kind of getting reinvigorated in life and understanding what has held that back. So yes, that can come up in ways of career and relationship, like that we have blocks and things are just not as great as what we would like. Not as easy. I feel like there's been a lot of work on your end to just try to make the best of it. I feel like there's, like with relationship, you've been putting yourself out there to try to make the best of it. With work, it's been a little bit more apathetic, where it's like there's been times where you have given that energy, but you kind of feel like kind of over it in a sense. I'm kind of over it in a sense. So you have like these multiple avenues of how you're putting your emotion into things, and yet you're not getting exactly the result that you would like. And so within that cycle 8 energy, what happens is the energy is all about, it goes back to you. It's not about what other people are experiencing that is going to shape what is happening always. It's like, it's a synergy, right? It's a synergy. So it's them and you, and them and you. And when the 8's in play, it's about personal power. When the 8's in play, it's about personal truth. So it's like, if you can look at it from perspective of what can give me more certainty and confidence about who I am in regards to my decisions within work, with how I go forward, and also certainty and confidence within the relationship and what I am getting out of it and what I'm getting back in it. What is going to do that in a way that I can control, where I can assert myself and I can stand up for what I need and what I would like to have? What's it going to take for that? Because you're the one that really is going to drive the scenario and flip the switch on it. Yes, you can't control what happens at the end of it. You can't, because there's more than just you involved, but you actually get to be the driver for making sure that your needs are addressed, whether it's a good outcome or not the one that you'd like. Okay? And so that means to go forward, because 8's all about your health and what's affecting your health and what's affecting your body limitations and what's affecting how you physically get things within life. And 8, there has to be a bravery. Honestly, there has to be an inner truth. Sometimes we overlook things because we're just like, I don't want to deal with that now. But 8 is all about truth and consequence. And so if we're overlooking things, life takes us to the consequence to really look at the truth, okay, of what can change and what's really going on. So I invite you within that to answer some of those questions of certainty and confidence, because you can give yourself that. The job and your relationship can't ultimately give you that. It can help with that, but ultimately it comes from the power of self-truth and realization and activation. And that, honestly, with an 8, if you look at those things and you meet life on those terms, it's almost like that light, because it's that light you give to yourself. It's all about the 8, the truth and confidence. It blasts away blockages. It literally blasts away blockages, but it forces you to kind of deal with the most difficult blockages as well, though, in that time frame. But what happens is you get answers that you really wouldn't have expected to get, and you get them quite quickly. You really do. I do feel like within the career, I do feel like new energy is needed within the career. So if you can look within doing something different within career, something different, I'm really encouraging that. And with relationship, I really think it's a matter of standing up for what you feel is happening and making sure that it's talked about, making sure that it's listened to, and standing up for yourself with making the person know that it affects you and that it causes pain for it not to be realized. Okay, so that is what's coming into play. She says, yes, I've been putting off my health and I really need to focus on it. I've been thinking about career change. It's a big leap, but it boils down to me and my motivation and my drive. Correct. So it's like, if it comes down to, because the 8 is all about looking back to the truth of oneself and what do I really need to get my success, or what am I really doing to give me my consequences, right? The 8 is very brutal within that. It really is. So you're talking about motivation and drive. So you can help answer that question for yourself. What is going to take that motivation and drive? And start brainstorming, start meditating, start contemplating, start praying, whatever your vehicle is. And that's the next step. And really, your health needs to be looked at, because all of that affects your drive and motivation if you don't have energy. And if you don't have consideration on self. Our body is our vehicle, right? So it's a reminder within that, it's a reminder to really focus on self, heal thyself, and become powerful within the energy and healing that you give to yourself. Okay? So everyone, it's been a fantastic show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you next week on Wednesday with our guest interview, and the reading show again next week on Friday. Please, with love, light, and luck, and of course, always don't forget to live. I will see you really soon. Enjoy your week. Thank you so much.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.